Hello, I'm Pat, and today we're checking out how to practice chords and intonation on the dobro. So this lesson is a follow-up to my previous lesson on learning the basic major chords. So I will show you how to practice chords in the context of basic straight bar major chords. But you can of course apply this to any chord really. So if you don't know your basic straight bar major chords, then first check out my lesson on learning the basic major chords. Also, this lesson comes with PDF files with chords progression, as well as a backing track that I made and that we'll be using for the lesson. So get all that stuff ready beforehand. And now let's get started. Practicing chords on the dobro. So a very important aspect of practicing chords on the dobro is intonation. As you probably noticed, it's very easy to make things sound out of tune on the dobro. So of course you need to make sure that your bar is exactly above the fret when you play a chord. But this alone is not enough if you only practice one chord at a time, because chances are you might be a little out of tune without even noticing it. So there are 4 exercises that you can work on to make the most of your chords practice. The first is to practice your chords using the open first string. Let's take A for example on the 2nd fret. Pull your bar back to the 2nd string and use the open first string as a reference. If you're a bit flat, sounds out of tune. If you're a bit sharp, sounds out of tune. Even though you could think that you're in tune, when you pull your bar back, it's out of tune. Right above the fret, sounds good. Okay, now not all of your basic major chords will sound good with the open first string, and some will actually sound pretty horrible, like the F sharp one for example. Okay, but most of the chords would sound good with the open first string, so that would definitely help you hear if you're out of tune or not. So let's practice this with our natural chords first. By that I mean chords whose root is not a sharp or flat. So that's G, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Let's start off with A. Okay. B, 4th fret. Doesn't sound so good, that one. So let's go to the next one, which is C. Okay, so again, pull your bar back. And try to notice when you're slightly out of tune. D, 7th fret. 9th fret, E. Okay. Next chord F, 10th fret. And last chord G on the 12th fret. Okay, let's try this with sharp and flat chords now. Okay, so the first is G sharp or A flat on the 1st fret. Again, my bar is pulled back and I let my open first string ring. Sounds a bit weird, this one, so let's go to the next one. This is A sharp or B flat, 3rd fret. Okay, so if I'm out of tune, okay, I can hear it. I hope you do too. Next one is C sharp or D flat on the 6th fret. This one doesn't sound good, so let's go to the next one, which is F sharp, and this one doesn't sound good as well. Okay, so as I said, some will sound good and some will not sound good. So I think that's a great exercise. Again, open first string as a reference and try to notice when you're out of tune or not. Okay, so the second way to practice chords is to play a simple chord progression, because you will hear it when one chord is not in tune in relation to the previous one you just played. So let's try to play a simple 12-bar blues in the key of E. If you check out your PDF file, I've written the chords down for a 12-bar blues in E, so use that as a reference and memorize the chord progression first. So very quickly, the one chord is E, 9th fret, the 4 chord A, 2nd fret, and the 5 chord B, 4th fret. Okay, so let's set the metronome at 80 beats per minute and really focus your attention and try to hear the sound of each chord in relation to the one you've just played before. And try to notice when you're not in tune. For example, if I play E and then I'm going to play A, you hear I'm not in tune here, there. So try to notice, you know, this chord in relation to this one. I'm not in tune, so I try to adjust my bar until it sounds good. Okay, so here I set my metronome 80 beats per minute. Okay, try to play along with me if you can. Try to notice when you're not in tune. 1, 2, 3, 4. B. Okay, so you can, of course, gradually increase the speed of the metronome so that it's challenging for you, but the goal is not to be able to play chords at 200 beats per minute, but rather be able to play in tune without thinking about it anymore, okay? So you can practice this chord progression or any chord progression really. So I really encourage you to make up your own and really try to focus on the sound of each chord in relation to the previous one. And when you're not in tune, adjust your bar until it sounds good. Okay, so the third exercise is to use a backing track. So this is more or less the same thing as the chord progression we just played, but I think it's a bit easier since you'll have other instruments playing, so you will hear better when you're not in tune. And also it's a lot more fun to play in the context of a band situation. So I've got this backing track for you that I made with Band in a Box, and I've also written the chord progression. So check out your PDF file. We're gonna check out the chords first, okay? First chord is an A, we're in the key of A. Next chord is a D. Then we've got A again. Then we've got E. Then I've got a chromatic sequence, G. G flat, F, and then we play a sequence of what I call secondary dominant chords. Now, I don't want to go into too much music theory because that's not the point of this lesson really, but basically a secondary dominant chord is a dominant chord that resolves to a chord other than the tonic. Okay, it's the 5th chord of the 1 chord but in a different key. Now, I know it might sound funny if you don't know much music theory and stuff, but that's what it is really. For example, here we've got F and B flat, and F is the 5th chord of B flat in the key of B flat and not A, okay? So that's just a little music theory, but don't bother too much if you don't know music theory. So let's get back to our chords progression. We've got F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, then we've got another little chromatic sequence, F, E, and we end up with A and E. Okay, so try to get this chord progression memorized first, okay? So maybe use those little ideas, the chromatic sequence and the secondary dominant chord progression to get it memorized quicker. So you need to have that down first because we are going to play over the backing track. It's a bit fast, it's 120 beats per minute. So I'm going to set up my backing track now, just a sec. Try to play along with me if you can. The idea is really to focus on your intonation and try to adjust slightly your bar when you're not in tune, okay? Ready? Here we go. Okay. Now, the fourth and the last way, and probably the best way to practice chords is, of course, by playing songs. Okay, so my advice here is just try to play over songs that you like, really. Just strumming the chords on the first beat of the bar, for example. Or you can even try some of my songs tutorial, if you will. I've got songs where you can just play the chords and maybe hum or sing the melody on top of it. And this is a real fun exercise, so it will definitely help you in your chords practice. Well, I hope this lesson helped you practicing your chords and intonation. So remember, you need to practice slowly and really pay attention to what you hear. Try to notice when you're slightly out of tune and adjust your bar until it sounds good to you. You can of course double check with the tuner too if you like, but I think you'd better off getting used to use your ears only. Using your ears is one of the most important things for a musician, and I think this exercises will be very beneficial to your hearing skills in general. So that's a great thing to work on. Well, I think that's it for today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like my lessons. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you later. Thanks, bye.